So our story kicks off in a pretty familiar way, with a big company looking to make some money. They send a 20-person team out into the super dense, remote jungles of the Andaman Islands. Their job? Simple. Cleared the land for a new coal mining operation.
Now, of course, they were warned. The local villagers wanted nothing to do with the place. They tell these stories about an entire tribe that just disappeared overnight. But you know how it goes. The team just brushes it off as local superstition. Money talks, right? So they push on into the forest, ignoring what is probably the biggest red flag you could possibly get.
And this is where things start getting seriously creepy. The story does an amazing job building this atmosphere of pure dread. We're talking red eyes in the dark, the sound of someone running alongside them just out of sight, trees that look like they have faces, even cloth dolls and human skulls just hanging from the branches. It's like the jungle itself is screaming at them to get out. So after seeing all of that, what do? They ignore it, obviously. They start their work, and the very first thing they do is start tearing down a small, crumbling temple they find hidden in the woods. I mean, come on. That's just horror movie 101 for you're gonna have a bad time. While they're digging around the temple site, their tools hit something hard. And we're not talking about a rock just under the surface. This was buried a full 25 feet down. You don't bury something 25 feet deep unless you really, really want it to stay buried forever. And what they pull out is this mysterious box wrapped up in these heavy iron chains, covered in all sorts of weird symbols. It's like something out of a movie. The moment they unearth it, the sky gets dark, the forest goes silent. But hey, curiosity and maybe a little greed wins out. They decide they're gonna open it.
So they crack it open, and inside they find a human skull and some ancient scrolls, and this is it. This is the moment everything changes. They probably think they found some priceless archaeological treasure, but what they've really done is just punched their one-way ticket to a nightmare.
And it doesn't take long for things to go sideways. That very night, the attacks begin. They're fast, they're brutal. In the middle of all this chaos, the team manages to catch a local tribal man who was lurking nearby. And once they've got him cornered, he starts telling them this absolutely terrifying story to explain what they've done.
He tells them they've released the Sarkata, which literally translates to the Headless One, and he describes this thing, this monster that has haunted his people for generations. It's a vicious headless body with its own separate floating head that just hunts in the night.
Yeah, pretty horrifying stuff.
So he lays out this whole epic legend for them. You know, once upon a time, the Sarkata terrorized the tribe. Then, a hero priestess defeated it. A mystic sealed its head and body in 2 separate boxes. But then, and this is a key detail, a weird plague and poisoned water forced the tribe to leave the cursed jungle anyway. It sounds like a perfect, neat little ghost story that explains everything, or so they think. And just like the man said, his story starts playing out right in front of them, in real time. The Sarkata is loose, and the team members who walked into this forest like they owned the place are now just terrified prey. The tables have turned big time. All their modern tech? Totally useless. Their phones have no signal. Their bus just mysteriously won't start. They are completely and utterly trapped. The jungle has become a cage, and the Sarkata is the one holding the key. So up to this point, you're probably thinking you know exactly where this is going. It's a classic monster in the woods story, right? They messed with something they shouldn't have, they unleashed the monster, now they have to pay the price. But this is where the story pulls the rug right out from under you. As the last few survivors are cornered, completely hopeless, the tribal man, the storyteller, he finally reveals the devastating truth. The legend he told them wasn't exactly a lie, but he definitely left out the most important part. Remember that curse that drove his people away? The mysterious plague and the poisoned water? Well, that wasn't supernatural at all. It was a chemical spill. A deliberate act of sabotage designed to make the land unlivable so it could be snatched up by outsiders for cheap. He tells them the real curse wasn't some ancient monster, it was people. People willing to do anything for money. And get this, those scrolls they found, they didn't just tell the story of how to imprison the Sarkata. They also contain the instructions on how to awaken it. The legend was a history, sure, but it was also a user manual for a weapon. And guess who performed the ritual? He did. He awakened the Sarkata on purpose, not out of some random evil, but as a protector. He unleashed it as a terrifying, brutal instrument of vengeance against the very people who would destroy his home for profit.
And just like that, the entire story transforms. This isn't just a supernatural horror anymore. It's a grim, bloody story about ecocide. The Sarkata stops being a random demon and becomes a symbol of nature's violent, horrifying retribution.
Which leaves us with the story's final, chilling question. Who is the real monster here? Is it the headless creature slaughtering people in the dark? Or is it the faceless corporation that poisoned an entire ecosystem and displaced a community, all for the coal buried underneath their home? It really makes you think, doesn't it?